Hello, productive peers of the world. I hope everyone's doing good considering the conditions of the world at the moment. And I hope everyone's being productive as always. Although a little bit of Netflix on the side doesn't do harm to anybody. So I'm here to give you another reason to stay at home and stay safe. I'm going to be teaching you the first basic 6 chords of the guitar and a few of the variations of it. Although, keep in mind, there's going to be a chart up here and it's going to show the 23 important chords that are necessary for like a beginner guitarist. These are open chords as well, but these are some other variations. But if you master these 6 that I will teach you today and some of the variations, you'll be able to master the others in no time. We got to start with the basics of the guitar. So the reason you're probably watching this video is maybe you're considering to buy a guitar, maybe you're considering getting into it, getting back into it, or whatever. But I would just really want to start with the basics of the guitar. So this, what you see here, is the neck. And this, what I'm holding right here, is the body. The body is right there on my little right thigh. Okay. Did not have to say little. But moving on. This pattern, your little pattern you see here, completely worn out on mine, on my guitar. This is the scratch pad. This prevents the scratches from being there on your body. The neck is also called the fretboard. The reason why it's called the fretboard now is because these lines that you see, these little bars, these are known as frets. Changes every time you change a fret. Okay, probably should not have a lot of fun with that. Okay, moving on. Now, the sounds that each fret makes when you put pressure on the string is different and of a different pitch. And if you see carefully, you will see the thickness of the strings vary too. But I will cover that portion in another video. But we're just here to learn the basic chords, aren't we? So moving on, as you can see, there are 6 strings on this guitar. This is the low E string, A string, G string, D, B, and high E. So my guitar as of yet is in the standard tuning, and there, if you get into the world of guitar, there will be many more tunings that you can come across, and there will be many more tunings that you can come across. Yeah. My guitar is in the standard tuning, as you can see. Although if you enter the world of guitar, you will see many more tunings, and we're not going to get into that as of yet. As I said before, we're here for the chords. So finally getting into the chords. Wake up if I made any of you fall asleep. Yeah, there we go. Okay, so the one we're going to start off with, C major chord. You'll see a tablature over there. So a tablature is basically the image of the fretboard with the dots on the places that you put the pressure on. So the C major chord begins with you taking your index finger, pressing it on the 2nd string, which is the B string, and of the 1st fret, if you can see it, if it's visible. This goes here, and the middle finger will go on the 3rd string, which is the D string, on the 2nd fret. Moving on, this index will not go on that one, it will go on the A string on the 3rd fret. And now you can just wham your guitar. I'm kidding, please don't do that. I don't want to get into a lawsuit. Okay, moving on. You can pluck all the strings. And remember one more thing. Keep your fingers very close to the end of the fret. Like, it needs to be very close to the metal plate that you see over there. So that improves the quality of the sound. But otherwise you can play it anywhere. But if you want a good quality and you do not want the nagging little hearing that most people do sometimes, you gotta go for this one. Okay, so here it goes. Is it? You hear that nagging? That's your C chord. When trying to learn the chord, you should probably learn the chord string by string and pluck every single string and see whether you're playing the chord right, because sometimes the fingers overlap and you tend to press the other strings without even knowing it. And then I'll press anything here. There we go. Moving on, the D major chord. You don't have to change a lot of things. It's on the same area of the guitar, the first 3 frets. So you take, there are a few ways that people play it, but the way I like to play it is to keep your index finger on the D string of the 2nd fret, and your middle finger on the high E string, which is the last string or the first string, whatever you feel like calling it, and then the ring finger or your 3rd finger on the 3rd fret of the B string. And then you should hear something like this. For the D major chord here, you might not want to be playing the first 2 strings because those are another part of the chord. So you're going to be only playing the 4 strings. I believe that's familiar to many people. Okay, moving on. This is the first variation that we're coming across in this video, and this is the minor chord. And this is going to be for D minor. You don't have to change a lot of things, but you just take that one finger that you have on the 2nd fret of the high E string, and you move it 1 fret up to the 1st fret, and then you put the rest of the fingers back in their places. Only 1 finger moves, which is on the high E string. It just moves 1 step up, if you can see it over there, and then you hear it again, just as before. Do not play the first 2 strings, and you will be fine. If you notice, you will notice a little bit of sad ring to it. That is the thing about minor chords. They're a little bit sadder than the major chords. Major chords are rather happy. And this is the minor chord. Well, they're kind of relatively sadder. Okay, moving on alphabetically, we're moving on to the E major chord. Now, as you can see, this one goes along. Yeah, we're going alphabetically. You gotta put your fingers on the 2nd fret of the A string and the G string. And your index finger, this guy will be going on to the 3rd string, which is the D string, and you will be holding on to those. So if you make that shape and actually play it, it'll sound something like this. So it's rather simple, and for the minor chord, all you gotta do is just pull that one off the D. You just gotta pull that index finger off, and you'll be just putting your fingers on the 2 strings, and there's your minor chord. Oh God, it's gonna start making me cry. Okay, so now, oh God, I think I forgot the A chord. Don't worry, I did that intentionally, and the reason I'm not going to the F chord after E may be triggering some people's OCD, but the reason I'm not doing that because F is a part of a bar chord. So in a bar chord, what we gotta do is put a finger all across the fretboard, all of it. So you're basically that requires a lot of practice and a lot of pain. It's gonna pain in the beginning, but as you practice, you'll get used to it. That's the one thing with playing the guitar, you know. Okay, so moving on. So the A chord. This is a rather simple one. There are 2 ways people play it. So you will be basically blocking the 3 strings on the 2nd fret, and those strings that you'll be blocking are B, D, and G. So you'll be blocking them. Either you can block them with fingers like this. You can just grab them on. or maybe you can interchange it, which I like to do because it's comfortable for my fingers and I feel like my fingers are larger, so that's what I choose to do. So it should sound like this. And moving on, the minor version of the chord. In this one, since you cannot exactly interchange your fingers, what I do is you can change the ring fingers and the middle fingers in most of the chords that I'm going to be telling you today. So yeah, so in this one, all you gotta do is move the blocking of the B string one fret up, just like you did it in the D minor chord. And if you play it now, moving up the index finger one fret. Oh God, I'm gonna start crying, I swear. So that's the A minor chord for you. And now if we're going alphabetically, here comes the B one. So, and this is also a bar chord, which is why I kind of straight up started with C. C is the easiest one and is the place where most guitarists start from. Okay, so in this one, it's a little bit harder, and I'm just going to be telling you the major version of it. If you want to practice, I have linked the chord charts in the description, and you can go ahead and try to look at that. Okay, so you barred the second fret completely or partially, that's on you. So you barred that, and similar to the way you did A, you just move the A major chord 2 frets, 1 and 2, and you bar this chord, bar the second fret as much as you want to. I would suggest keep your fingers a little bit tilted when you're barring the chord, because that makes it easier. And there we go. That's how you play the B major. Now moving on to F, because we kind of missed it. And moving on, you have to bar the first one. It's going to be harder because like the first one is the tightest one. So you have to bar that one. Your middle finger goes right on the D string. The middle finger goes right on the D string. And the 2 fingers, whatever is comfortable, although I would keep the pinky on the G string and the ring on the A, but like if you can get your pinky up there, kudos to you. Okay, so this is how the F major chord is supposed to sound like. Okay, now moving on to the G chord. Oh, don't worry, that is not a bar chord, it's rather simple. Okay, so for this one, you will have to put your middle finger. Okay, so moving on to the G major. Don't worry, this is not a bar chord, this will not hurt your fingers at all, hopefully. But there are 2 ways to play it, but I prefer the middle finger way, and I will just tell you that in a second. Because that is rather easier when you're switching chords, maybe from C or A or D, maybe even a bar chord if you like to play that in the future. So once you're changing that, it's rather easy playing the middle finger method, so I will teach you that. So you take the middle finger and it goes on the A string, 2nd fret, and the ring finger, it goes on the low E string on the 3rd fret, and the pinky, the little guy, goes on the 3rd fret on the high E. And it should sound supposedly like that, this. And it should sound like this. So these are the basic chords, open/bar, that one needs to know to start guitar, or at least every guitarist should know, and now you know them too. So the key to remembering these chords is to practice, and the key to remove the pain, who am I kidding? The pain never goes away. You just learn to live with it. But the bar chords are harder, but the only way to get through the bar chords is through practice. And I would suggest you can do that once or twice a day. And if it hurts the fingers too much, I know it does, leave it for a day or two and come back and get back to the guitar and start off. See you later, productive peers.